A promise is not just words. It is a foundation, something you build on, step by step, until it can hold the weight of a life. Infidelity does not begin in a bed, it begins in a hesitation before the truth. In the moment you turn away, not only from another person, but from the ground you once chose to stand on. In myth, even the gods are unfaithful. Zeus, king of Olympus, disguised himself as swan, bull, even rain, not for war or justice but for desire. His affairs filled the world with heroes and monsters, but also with the bitterness of Hera, his queen. Hera's wrath did not always fall on her husband. It fell on the women, on the children, on the world. Because in betrayal, there are never only two people who pay the price. In Hindu myth, Indra, king of heaven, fell into temptation, taking the form of a sage's husband to seduce his wife. The result was not just shame. It was a curse that stripped him of his strength and status until he learned humility. Even in the Bible, the story of David and Bathsheba is more than lust. It is about power crossing a sacred boundary. David took what was not his, and the cost was chaos in his own household. Because every broken bond releases a storm that no one can fully control. Why do people risk everything for a moment's passion? Often, it is not because they have found something greater. It is because they are escaping something they do not want to face. Infidelity can be a cry for recognition, the hunger to feel chosen, alive, exceptional again. It can also be an addiction to danger, the way the forbidden electrifies the mind. The brain's chemistry does not care about ethics. It only responds to novelty. But at its core, cheating is a fracture in one's own word. And the damage begins within. You can hide the messages. You can delete the evidence, but you cannot erase the fact that you split yourself in two. The person who acts and the person who hides. In psychology, the shadow, the unseen side of the self, grows strongest in secrecy. Infidelity feeds it until it begins to direct the choices you make. You think you are steering, but every lie is a stone added to the weight you must carry. In Stoic thought, a promise is about the stability of your own character. To betray is to exchange long-term strength for short-term desire. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "If it is not right, do not do it. If it is not true, do not say it." This is not moralism. It is strategy for an unshaken life. Existentialism reminds us that freedom means choice, and choice writes identity. When you choose betrayal, you are not only changing the story. You are changing the kind of person you are willing to become. In many religious traditions, infidelity is seen as breaking more than a human contract. In Christianity, marriage reflects divine commitment. In Islam, it is a sacred trust placed in your care. Across cultures, to break that trust is to step outside the protection of what is holy. When trust is broken, it does not stay contained. In myth, Hera's vengeance reached into generations. In life, the echo spreads through children, friends, and even the way you stand in the world. A home touched by betrayal feels different. Even without words, the atmosphere changes. Trust can be rebuilt, but like a wall once cracked, it will never have the same strength in the same places. And yet some bonds survive the fracture. In certain myths, tests of faithfulness are not designed to punish, but to reveal. Sometimes, the wound forces a truth to surface, a truth that comfort and habit would have kept buried. Infidelity is more than a moment of desire. It is a declaration of your priorities. The same act can come from different roots, from hunger for affection, from hunger for dominance, from fear of stillness. We disguise it with softer names, mistake, weakness, bad timing, but it is always a decision, one that changes the architecture of your life. In myth, gods may betray and still hold their thrones. Humans cannot. Our thrones are made of trust, and once that collapses, the crown becomes meaningless. The greatest loss is not always the partner you lose or the one who leaves. It is the self-respect that cannot be recovered without transformation. Infidelity takes many things. But the first thing it takes is from the one who commits it. Because when you cross that line, you trade the strength of who you were for the fragility of who you have become.